Welcome to my channel. It's your girl, Beautiful Shalom. It's early in the AM, 4:38 Eastern Standard Time to be exact. Don't mind me because I'm looking good and crazy. I'm on my couch. I'm in my pajamas in my house. And I titled this live, Early Morning Revelation. So I was up just now talking to my aunt. I have this thing I told you guys I'd be waking up between 1 and 3 in the morning. And so when I woke up, let me preface this video by saying that this is just kind of like my part of my journaling documentation of divorce or headed towards divorce, separation, toxicity, dealing with all that, but how I'm dealing and going through. So anyway, back in July, some point in July, my soon-to-be ex-husband, there was a disagreement about pickup for the overnight visit for our daughter. We do have a court order that specifies a common place, excuse me, to pick our child up and, drop her off to. Um, and, you know, at our discretion, we was making modifications to that pickup and drop off location. So anyway, prior to this visit, my friend and I, we were out and we were going to have drinks, and I did park my car because we wanted to bar hop. And so it was just easier to park my car and, you know, go and have our little drinks, whatever. I ended up seeing my husband that night. There was a guy that attempted to stop me, and my friend and I, we kept walking down the street, and, he was yelling out his window. He backed traffic up. He was saying stuff. And in the midst of him saying stuff, um, my friend was like, listen, she's married. And he was like, me too. Saying his little nonsense, whatever. But, I was just like not interested, obviously. The irony of it all was that my husband was literally like a car or two behind this man. Um, I believe, I don't know factually, but I believe that my husband seeing somebody trying to talk to me, engage me, set him off. And then he, got on his petty stuff, being unreasonable, ridiculous. So I'm just like, whatever. Ultimately, it came to that Friday, and it was supposed to be time for him to go and, have his visit with our daughter. Um, because I had something, a prior appointment, and she was in camp at the time. The visit started at 5. I typically accommodated him, picked her up from camp, and dropped her off to him. But when um, when that happened, when that ended up happening, there was a disagreement about the pickup and the drop off. So ultimately, initially, I was like, listen, if you don't want to pick her up, your visit start at 5, get her from the location that she's in. He spoke to it not being in compliance with the court order. So I ended up going back to look at the court order, and he was correct. Um, it did state that the pickup and drop off. So I messaged him back, and I was like, listen, I'm going to bring her there to the location. That's what you want to do. I'm going to bring her there, pick her up. No, now he's all in his feelings. I'm not seeing my kids. I'm not seeing my kids till they turn 18. This was not the first time he did it. It wasn't the second time. It was the third time that he did it since January. It was the second time he did it since having the court visits in place, right? Um, so now I'm like, mind you, and sometimes the truth could feel like a shot, but it's not a shot. The truth is the truth. And I say this to my son all the time. If you don't like the truth, then present different. So that reality is different. And then when people speak on the truth, you're okay because the way you move is in alignment with the way you want people to speak on you. So it's like, now you have other children. that you have been in and out of their lives. That has been your pattern. You have never raised a child. Our son would have been the fourth, the first child you would have raised. And even with him, you weren't there for his birth because you were in prison. You weren't there until he was 4 years old, right? You've never raised a child from birth until whenever. It has been your pattern since the age of your early 20s to create life and to come and go in and out of their lives. That's just been the reality. And so now, fast forward all these years later, it is the same reality. So it's different women, different children, but you're responding the same. Your response has everything to do with you. It has nothing to do with the children, it has nothing to do with the women. It has everything to do with your capacity. So now, fast forward, you choose because the accommodation didn't happen as soon as you want, the way you want it. You're not seeing your kids until they're grown. So I move forward and I'm just like, whatever. There ended up being a situation with our daughter. He wasn't reaching out where she was hurt. So I figured I give him the respect, the parental respect to inform him that she was hurt, is met with dysfunction, aggression, hostility. So I decided to, that was the last straw for me. And I'm like, I've been raising these kids by myself. Um, you've been ghost MIA. Our son doesn't want the relationship, but our daughter does, right? And so I have two children that have two different needs, right? For different reasons. And I have to make healthy choices for my children. I'm like, what is the sense? Do I see the previous situations with the other children? Do I want that to be the reality of my kids? I would rather them get adjusted to your absence and develop coping skills to understand that they have a father that's not present in their life than for them to get accustomed to you being in and out because it causes more harm, right? And so as my daughter started to actively, get counseling services. And then things started coming out. She started sharing things. I was like, yeah, this is not a healthy situation. I went back to court. I filed for violation of, the clauses and and the visitation agreement. And I was requesting that either A, supervise visits, or B, pull the visits altogether. But this is unhealthy. It's doing more harm than good. And so he ended up reading some letter in court, and he eventually got to the point where he couldn't compose himself, and the judge asked him to leave, and he left. And then the judge let me know, like, you need to consider a restraining order. You need to consider a no contact. Um, and if he communicates with you any way that is, harassing, that is disrespectful, you need to, contact the authorities. She said, whether it's electronic, via text message, via telephone, via coming to your house, you know, exhaust those avenues. So we've had this. We've had him showing up at my house. We've had him writing crazy things in the parenting app. Tonight is that's what happened. He just showed up at my house Sunday. He called my phone and it's like, you're not supposed to contact me at all. You know, there's a court order in place. If you want to communicate something, communicate it through the parenting app. So when he called, I refused to answer the phone. And this is the crazy thing, right? I didn't have him blocked. I didn't even realize that I didn't have him blocked, but um, I've been trying so hard to do everything in my ability to foster a healthy dynamic. I don't talk to my kids about their father's personal choices. I don't talk about how he showed up to parenting his other children or lack thereof. I don't talk about him in any capacity, only to ask my son, what is your boundaries? What are you comfortable with? And only to acknowledge my daughter's feelings. And when she asked me questions, and her therapist said it would be really good if I was, gave her a safe space to share herself. Because initially she would ask me, Mommy, why aren't you wearing your red and wing? Mommy, why this? And I didn't think it was appropriate to entertain those things. And it made it easier to just say, like, you know, that's adult stuff. Don't ask me anything about daddy. But what I realized was it wasn't giving her a safe space to express herself emotionally. So since she's been talking to, you know, the social worker, she's expressed a lot of things that I was not aware of. And I've been trying to be more balanced and giving her space to share her feelings about, her dad, ask why her dad is not in her life, ask about her brothers and I tell her I can't answer some of these questions. I don't know. Those are questions you're going to have to ask your father. The only thing is mommy is responsible for making sure this is a healthy situation. And just because you want to see daddy, I get it, but we have to make sure it's healthy. We can't subject myself, we can't subject your brother um, through to toxicity and dysfunction just because we want daddy to see you, right? If it's not going to be a healthy situation, if he's going to continue to be in and out, that's not a good thing. You don't deserve that. You deserve a consistent parent. So, they removed the visitation schedule and they left it to at discretion and mutual agreement. He reached out, he came to the house Sunday. The children and I were on our way to court, not court, church. And then he requesting to see his kids. I let him know you cannot just pop up. You need to utilize the parenting app. I put in the parenting app Sunday, like, listen, I'm all for your visits resuming. However, you cannot just pop up at my house. You cannot contact me. You have to adhere to the boundaries set in place by the court. If you're able to do that, we can come to some type of agreement about what visitation and communication looks like. She misses you. She wants me to tell you she misses you. And she's been had her tablet. She had a phone, and she had a phone that had no parental restrictions on it, which was not good because she's 7 years old. She doesn't need to be subjected to the internet. She doesn't need to be subjected to, all these other things. With a tablet, I'm able to put downtime on it. So I can lock the tablet where she's unable to use it until certain times, right? There's parental controls on it that a 7-year-old should have. And we had this conversation. He was in agreement. We've been waiting on an email. She's had her tablet since like June. We've been waiting on the email since June. She has no email still so that she could directly communicate with her father, right? So he didn't check the parenting app to see what I put, that I'm okay with you seeing her as long as you can adhere to the boundaries set forth by the court. He's not. So now tonight he calls, or yesterday afternoon he calls. I immediately decline the call and I text, put it in the parenting app, use the parenting app. He uses the parenting app. Can I see my daughter? Yes or no? Everything is not a yes or no. Can you have my daughter call me? Yes or no? Everything is not a yes or no. There are boundaries. There's a court order in place with stipulations that you continuously violate. So I'm like, showing up to my house, refusing to even look at the parenting app, calling me directly, going to the school. All these things speak to your inability to respect the law, to respect authority, right? And you are only someone who visits at your own convenience. You are only someone who deal when you feel like it. And as soon as you don't, it's the same narrative. I'm going to see my kids when they get grown. So why would I get back on this roller coaster? Why would I subject my child to the inconsistency? See, this is the thing. A real man is not going to ever have you confused. And I'm not talking about as a woman in a romantic relationship. I'm talking about a real man, period. Whether it's with his peer, that's another male, whether it's with his mother, whether it's with his sister, whether it's with his wife, whether with his girlfriend or his children. A real man does not lead in confusion. A real man stands on principle, right? A real man provides provisions. Provisions aren't just financial, they're not just materialistic. It's emotional stability. It is a safe space. You don't exude any of this energy in any capacity outside of being a worker, right? So, hey Kai, don't be sorry, because girl, please, I need you to get on and I need you to share and enlighten us women who have not gone through it, because I know you know what I'm going through. And I remember you talking about certain things. And it's so funny because my son, he sees what he sees, right? And I sit and I tell him, my babies they just got baptized a couple weeks ago. And when his father um, showed up, I said, do you want to see your dad? And he said, no. He said, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to see him. Like, I'm done with him. I'm done for good. Like, I'm done for the rest of my life. And I started crying and I said, listen, you chose God, right? God is forgiveness. Choosing God is forgiveness. And I'm not trying to lecture you, and I'm not trying to tell you how you should feel, Isaiah. But what I am saying is that at some space, you have to have grace and you have to have forgiveness, because that's what God is about. And if you can have grace and forgiveness for me as your mom, I have not always been a perfect parent. My parenting don't look the same as your dad's, but I have flaws nonetheless. And so if you can forgive me and have grace for me, I just want you to find it in your heart to forgive your father at some point, right? And I'm going to say this too: forgiveness doesn't equal reconciliation, but I just want you to have your heart open to it. Don't harden your heart, because if you harden your heart and you get comfortable, the more time that goes by, the harder it's going to be to come back from that. And I didn't make choices to have children the way that I did, to get married, for you to be in this space. But I understand I'm not responsible for your relationship with your father. That is something between you and him. And I don't know if he'll ever have the capacity to be who you want him to be as a dad, right? But I just pray about the situation. I don't speak ill of him. My daughter came to me the other day, and, the social worker shared with me that she said this about having her dad's phone while she was at his house, and a picture came through of him and a woman. And she was really upset about it. She tried to tell me this months ago. And I told her, I said, don't do that, Piffy. What goes on at daddy's house stays in his house. Unless it's a matter of you being unsafe, unless it's a matter of somebody mistreating you, don't violate his space by trying to come home and tell mommy what happens. I said, mommy's house is mommy's house. You don't need to take my business and bring it to your dad. And I don't want you to take daddy's business and try to bring it to me. Right. And the social worker helped me to understand that it's like a fine line in trying to be a respectable parent and not really entertain adult things matters with your children, versus giving them a space to speak to you about stuff that they're feeling and reassure them. And in her mind, it was like she never saw her father with another female. So to be on his phone and then there's this picture that come through, um, she had questions. She didn't like it. She was upset. And not only that, she was like, how daddy's going out with this lady and taking a picture with his hands on her hips. And, but then when I asked daddy if I could see him, he says he has to work. And it's just like, it's really bad. Amen, Kai. See, and you know what? Um, my son at 14 is where your son is at. Like, he's attempted to go on some overnights, and before July, and then he was telling me he didn't want to go on the overnights. And when I tell you I was so excited to have my little bit of time, child, I was excited to have my time, right? I was so excited to have my time. And I was like, I'm making you go to your dad's. And he was like, please don't make me go. But you know what I found out tonight? And and my and my husband calling yesterday and me telling him to put it in the parenting app, and him asking could talk to our daughter. And I said no. I said, listen, you have not respected any boundary that the court has put into place, from showing up at my house, calling, all this stuff. You want to see her, you have the courts is there. Go through the courts, let them decide. I will express my position in court, and you can bring your case to the court and let them decide what visitation look like for you. I'm not going into agreement for going back in dysfunction. I'm not going into the agreement for opening up the door for stuff to spiral out of control. This man Hours later, looks at the message and sends me the scathing message, right? Accuses me of all manner of evil. And this is the funny thing about it and the insanity. When we were in court, he's like, oh, she always threatens me with court. And it's like, it's not a threat. Because you have a warped perception of reality, I have to document everything, right? Because he'll literally say, she's keeping me from my kids. But the truth is, you abandon your kids. I have boundaries and how you get to engage with our daughter. Our son wants no engagement with you whatsoever, and that is his right. The court put that in order. The court said at the child's wish, due to what they shared with the law guardian. That has nothing to do with me. He's the same man that acknowledges, will openly say, oh, you know, Si, don't fuck with me. He's the same man that before all of this happened, I begged and pleaded with him to spend quality time with our son, to repair the emotional bond, to put in the work and the effort. He's the same man that refused to go to any therapy sessions with his response being, I got to worry about me. I got to worry about my life. So he's the same man that refused to pay child support. He and I had an agreement in our separation. The clause in our separation agreement for child support was $1,000. Agreed upon. That was the number he wanted. I said, That's fair to me, right?" Now he don't honor that. He ain't paying and he's still seeing his kids. I ain't being crazy. I'm letting him see his kids. He ain't paying. He said since December he was, oh, I'm going to family court because you want to control everything. Okay, I waited and waited. This man never went to family court. Finally, the end of February, I went and filed in family court. I'm tired of you popping up at my house trying to kick the door and acting crazy, being caught on ring cam because I should see my kids whenever I want. It doesn't work like that. If you were truly serious and you felt like I was being manipulative and your children were your number one priority, you would have took yourself to family court. You never took yourself to family court. I had to go down there and file the paperwork. And then while I'm down there and I'm filing, lo and behold, look who come running down there. Because I told them I was down there. Oh, I don't need you to go. I'm already down here. He come down there. I'm already filing the paperwork. See, you play around and you don't do the things. That's what a real man does. He take care of business. I put this man out the house December 1st. He said since January, oh, I'm changing my address. January, February, I'm changing my address. I didn't go and put in a change of address. I moved into my apartment May 15th. I didn't go and put in a change of address until, March 15th to March 10th, right? When they said, are you doing a single individual? Or are you doing a couple of people? I said, I'm doing a whole family. Me, my son, and my daughter. We all have the same last name. Mind you, in my mind, this man ain't been living in his home since December 1st. I thought that he was responsible. I took him at his word when he said he changed his address. What kind of adult still got their mail going somewhere they don't even fucking live? Right? So now, when I do the family change of address, it forwards as his mail to my new apartment because he never did what he said he did, right? So now he come with all this backwards shit, cursing me out, accusing me of trying to steal his bank stuff, and it's like, you, your warped sense of reality is the reason why I have to document everything. It's the reason why I have to show the law guardian because you will sit here and you will spin a narrative so far away from the reality of things because you're dysfunctional, you have this victim mentality, and you can't see past it. There always has to be somebody else to blame. You can never look internally for and understand why you're going through the things and say, Lord, how are you trying to guide me and navigate me to make better decisions? You are going to continue to repeat the lesson because you keep failing the test. You're not learning and nothing you go through. You always blaming somebody else. And then you disparage and you violate the very women that raise these children that you create, but you go in and out of their lives. And just because you pay child support, you think you somebody. So now the same man who don't want to pay no child support, not paying child support, not agreeing, not adhering to any financial agreement that we set in place. We had an agreement with taxes. I claim both the kids. He get a month for not paying child support. Did he honor that agreement? Absolutely not. He still didn't pay child support. When our court dates finally come, they're like, oh, it's a discrepancy, it's a hiccup, from when your child was younger, my son, there was a child support case because I got Department of Social Services, whatever, for like the first, It wasn't for a little bit of his life when my son was first born. So they had to factor that in, whatever. So they like, we got to come back for a hearing, adjournment, whatever, and we get the information correct. So I'm like, are you going to honor the separation agreement and pay? I'm not paying nothing till they make me. I said, okay, fine. Now they finally make him. Now they want you to pay all this money for child support. Mind you, it's based off your income. You got substantial income. So now he crying. That little $1,000 that me and you agreed upon, they want you to pay way more than that. Now I was like, oh, you trying to leave me in financial ruins. How am I leaving you in financial ruins? You have arrears because you didn't want to honor no separation agreement. You're in financial hardship because you chose to let this shit build up. You didn't want to pay anything until they garnished you. So now he said, oh, well, you could have swooped in. They said, would you take a lower amount? I said, you don't even pick your kids up. You won't even pick your child up from school. You won't take these kids to a doctor's appointment or orthodontist appointment, eye appointment. You're not providing any support or relief in any physical way. If you were being a hands-on parent and support looked different, then I would have no problem being in alignment with you paying a lesser amount because I never wanted what they trying to give me. I wanted way less than what they're trying to give me. But when I got to pay money for Ubers, when I got to pay people $100 a week to help with pickup and drop off, why the fuck would I take anything less than what they giving me? You the smart guy. This where you wanted to be, right? You thought I was manipulating. You thought I had. So now we right where you wanted to be. You the one who said you wanted this in court. And now it's my fault. You failed to take accountability for the choices you make. Fail to. It's always somebody to blame. So tonight he sends all these crazy messages saying, oh, well, you pulled the knife out on me. You absolutely right. I damn sure did. You were going to try to hit me. My son had to stand in front of me. I had to push my son out the way. You goddamn right. I pulled the knife out on you. Literally in court, he's reading this letter talking about how I hit him with a hot sauce bottle. I pulled the knife out on him. How I spit on him. Absolutely, I surely did. There's a thing called reactionary abuse. It comes to a point where a woman, it's kind of like battered woman syndrome. You don't get to do whatever you want to somebody. You don't get to put your hands on people. You don't get to gaslight people, disrespect them, threaten them, and do all kinds of shit, and then think nobody's not gonna have a reaction to you. That eventually I'm not going to go off. I don't care how prayed up I am. I don't care how much I try to put my kids at the forefront of my mind. I'm not that strong. It is nothing but the grace of God that allows me to show up good when I show up good. But trust and believe, I acknowledge 100%, absolutely, in the 15 years, I've showed up bad. I'm not doing that no more. And see, you're mad because you can't point and say, oh, it's you. There you go. There you go. You mad because I don't operate with you in that dynamic anymore. So you making not seeing your kids about shit that has happened prior to this being locked into this thingy, this visitation. You making it about everything else, but you couldn't have your way with a pickup and a drop off. And then when I tell you, because I'm the person dealing with their emotional well-being, I'm the person speaking life into them. This man had the audacity to put in this app. Mind you, we have clauses outlined in our separation agreement. You are not supposed to say, nor am I, anything disparaging about the other parent in the presence of the children or directly to the children. This man in this parenting app admits to telling our son, I'm sleeping with men, all kinds of crazy shit. And it's like, sir, what's wrong with you? This speaks to your instability. This speaks to the very reason why you don't need to be unsupervised with a goldfish, let alone my 7-year-old daughter. He was telling our daughter I stole his bank information or changed his bank information. Nobody changed none of your information. I put in a family move change for me and I thought was the 3 of my children because you already verbally communicated that you put in a change of address more than a month prior. So I took you at your word. But again, like everything else, you never stood on what the hell you said. You got $78. Yeah, I'm not even worried about it because you know what? My daughter is seeing the light. My two cousins, God bless them, shout out to them. They young men. They what, 33, 34. When I tell you they step behind my daughter, when I tell you the same love and affection that they show to their two daughters, they show to my daughter. When I show you the protection, when I tell you the way that my son steps behind his little sister, um, she got a village, right? And so it's like you can say whatever you want, but they will know you by your fruit. You got four and impossible children. You've been in and out of all of their lives, their entire lives, right? You just started doing it with my kids, right? But you've been doing it with the other three. The other two and a half, I mean, you've been doing it with them because the half of one, we don't even know if that's his child. He don't even know. What kind of responsible man have a 20-year-old daughter, might have, and you still don't got no DNA? And these are things that I tried to support, I tried to promote and help out with. And then I just stepped back. I said, whenever I would try to tell him about uniting his family and stepping up and it being his responsibility, the ego is so fragile. And then to have the audacity to speak on the women in my family and speak on me, speak about my health diagnoses, right? And it's like my chart is a real thing. You know, you could easily pull up my chart. You could backdate my chart. They carry my chart for years. Um, they backdate the my chart, right? For years. You could pull up my chart and verify anything you want to. It's so easy for people to project from a place of brokenness. It's so easy for people to externalize the things that they go through instead of look at internally. What does my growing process look like? What does my pruning process look like? How is God trying to refine me? What is it that he's trying to take the scales off of my eyes and have me to see about myself? And what I realize is that number one, you know, it's the reason why a woman who owned her own home, and this lady had her own issues because everybody have issues. Let's be real about it. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's walking in perfection. But this woman owned her own home. She was formally educated, right? She had a degree. She was financially sound on her own, and she only had one job. She loved this man. She truly loved this man. It's a reason why she didn't have a child with this man. It's a reason why. It is a reason why. And I'm 11 years younger than my husband. I shared this with him before and he was offended. I said, if being who I am now and the mentality that I have now, I wouldn't have dealt with a woman who was straight home from prison, didn't have nothing going on. The fact that you entertained me, it spoke volumes. You needed somebody that you could be a savior for. And who I was at 24, 25 emotionally, I am not that person. As I continued to grow, you know what my husband would say? I feel like I'm holding you back. I feel like you need to be with somebody else. I feel like you need to be like with a pastor or a preacher. And I would be so upset and it would hurt my feelings. But I think he realized that I was outgrowing him. I think he knew deep down inside, I don't have the capacity to stay with this woman. We got attracted in our brokenness. And so, because he needed somebody to make him feel like a man and he was doing something for, because he couldn't bring nothing to the table with his ex, right? Mm-hmm. And I loved him. You know, I loved him. So it was like I was waiting for him to play catch up. I was thinking love would be enough to redirect him and make him get into his healing process. But it didn't. You doing the same things at 51 you was doing at 21. It speaks to you. It doesn't speak to me, right? It speaks to you. So you know, it's really sad. And it's like when I first met my husband, I had a lot of emotional baggage, right? I had abandonment issues with my family. I had trauma issues from physical and sexual abuse, right? I had a lot of trust issues, whatever. And so it was like I needed him. And when it got to the space that I didn't need him, he couldn't handle that. When I started my healing process and my healing journey, when I started having standards, yeah, you can't deal like this. You're not going to talk to the kids like that. You're not going to talk to me like this. This is how I want to resolve conflict. Because I could get toxic. Everybody has the capacity to be toxic. And my toxic is hands on, right? So you put your hands on me, I'm put my hands on you. You talk crazy to me, I'm gonna put my hands on you. Like, yeah, no, it was domestic violence in a marriage. It was both ways. it was to the point where, though, for a very long time, I wouldn't engage and I would allow myself to be violated. I would allow myself to be mistreated. I would allow myself to be an emotional punching bag for a man who couldn't articulate himself, who didn't know how to process his emotions, and who didn't have coping skills. And me, I felt like, okay, because, well, he don't put his hands on me all the time. It's only been a couple of situations. And yeah, he only talked to me crazy. I know he don't really know how to deal and cope. And so I would justify him doing that. And then it would build up and build up and build up because it's like you ain't getting your shit together. You ain't trying to do nothing outside of yourself to help yourself show up better to conflict resolution. When life and things will happen at his job, this shit ain't got nothing to do with me. When things will happen with his other kids and his other children mother, you taking that shit out on me. You coming home taking it out on me and our son. We ain't your fucking punching bag because you don't know how to deal with yourself. I left my husband in 2022. I left him in 2022 for these very same reasons. I'm moving on. I'm sorry, I've given you time and space to work on this shit. I don't deserve it. I don't. Because if I was showing up in my toxicity to you, you wouldn't like it. And oh well, I'm just a simple man. This is just how I am. I don't feel like I need to change. I'm gonna change on my own in my own time. All right, well that ain't enough for me. I'm keeping it moving. And don't be mad when I'm out there and I'm doing me and I'm dealing with other people. You know what I mean? Because you ain't want to do the work to keep what you had. Now I'm out there, I'm entertaining other people, right? And here he come. Oh, can I take you out? I just want to sit down. Nah, I don't think that's a good idea. Please, after everything we had, all the years we had, I can't just sit down and talk to you. I let him take me out to dinner. We sit down, we have a conversation. Oh, I'm getting help. I went to my kids. I apologized to them. I went to their moms. I apologized to their moms. I'm gonna do things different. I'm sorry. I apologize. You absolutely right. I'm gonna work on myself. You think he worked on himself? I told myself, I said, I'm gonna watch and see God. I'm, I'm not going into 40 like this. At the time, I was what, 30, 37, about to be 38 or something like that. Baby, bye. By 2024, this was the final straw for me. 2024, 2023, I was seeing like, okay, he doing things different a little bit, but what he was doing was holding stuff in. He was trying to be on his best behavior. 2024, oh, that I was seeing that same man, the same way of dealing with conflict, the same way dealing with his emotions, same way dealing with our kid, our son. I'm not feeling this. Yeah, I'm done with it. The straw that broke the camel's back is my cousin's father passed away tragically. And we already late for the repast because I'm in a flare up. I'm not feeling good. He smoked before we even leave. Now we there. Mind you, my cousin had a situation where he didn't really know his dad's family like that. So this is first time meeting, a lot of his dad's family. We're at a repast. He want to smoke. And I'm like, you can't wait to smoke. Like, it's only a half an hour left. We was late. Like, this is family. We don't know these people. This is not a turn up. Like, it's our family get together. This is family. It's a repast. Like, oh, I don't need you telling me what to do. I'm like, yo, don't even worry about it. Smoke. I'm going to get the kids. We leaving. Like, is that important to you to smoke? You don't have no consideration for nobody else's family. He start going off in the car, talking all crazy, hollering, screaming in my ear. I'm like, listen. Watch how you talk to me. Because if I match your energy, you ain't going to be able to take it. And you already know that. Then you're going to want to get all crazy. Watch how you talk to me. Let me out the fuck. I let him out the car. I'm over it. I'm done. I knew then this marriage is over. I don't want no parts of this man. Let me get my shit together. Let me iron everything out. Let me figure everything I need to do to go to get divorced, legally separated, whatever, what that looks like. I did. I called a divorce attorney. They like, listen, these are the things that you need to do. These are the steps that it takes. So then I sat down with them. Listen, this is what I want to do. I want to get a legal separation. I believe I should have sole custody of the kids because I take care of them. I do everything for them. Yeah, you provide financially and you love them, but I make all the decisions. I take them everywhere they need to go. I'm responsible for all this. We were in agreement. We were in agreement. Child support, how much you think is a fair amount? This is what I was thinking. Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm willing to do that. We were in agreement. Okay. I filed my custody. I had the paperwork drafted up. We signed off on it. He checked out. Now, he ain't no parent. We just in the same house. He doing what the fuck he want to do. He going to work, coming home. taking a nap, waking up, getting all dressed, going out, drinking, getting DUIs, doing whatever the fuck he wanted to do. I was a single mom taking care of my kids, renting vehicles to get back and forth to work, pick them up, drop them off. Ain't going to none of my son track stuff. Ain't supporting my kids in any way, but just spend a little bit of time with our daughter. And that's been the whole situation ever since. And what I realized is that because I didn't want to be with him, he wasn't going to be a parent. He didn't really know what it meant to be a fully healthy parent. He didn't know what speaking life into your kids and giving them a safe space to disagree, to voice their opinions was, because nobody ever gave that to him, right? And now I leave because it get too crazy. It's like, you can't stay here. Why should I uproot my kids and have them, all three of us, sleeping in one bedroom at my aunt's house, and you have this whole big ass house to stay in? Mind you, we were going through a court proceeding. Nobody's paying rent. Nobody's paying a mortgage, whatever. So, because we were going through a court proceeding, so it was an injunction where we weren't paying, right? Why should you be here? Why should my kids be rooted away from everything that they know? Why should we have difficulties with transportation for you, one person? That's how selfish you is. You always thinking about yourself. You ain't never thinking about your kids, and that's why your other kids don't fuck with you like that, right? And you got a child that wants you, right? So they keep letting you come and pick them up and drop them off when you feel like that. You're not doing that shit to my kids. You're not gonna normalize that with my kids. I can't speak on anybody else and how they want to deal. My kids ain't gonna make that the norm for them. They're gonna be like, okay, I got a mama, I got aunties, I got cousins, I got, whoever in my life that are good, healthy relationships. I'm gonna focus on that. Yep. And then you still sitting here tonight, even talking about me, talking about, what I'm doing, all this. Sir, keep your focus on your kids. How the same man that says all he want to do is see his kids, and I'm saying go to court, and then you like, oh, well, I guess I'm not gonna see them till they grown. Then you don't want to see your kids till they grown, then that's your choice. That's what you're choosing. The courts are there for a reason. Why do you think I keep going back to the courts? This is not a healthy situation. If I had the ability to do it on my own, if I had the ability to come into agreement with you in a healthy space, the courts wouldn't even be involved. I'm not agreeing to anything. Let the courts go. Let it go through the courts. My position is I want supervision. You have said multiple times that you tell our kids stuff. You have put it in writing. You have verbally communicated it. Both my children have shared it, right? That is unhealthy. It's a violation of the court order. And because you can't adhere to the court order, I want supervised visits or no visits. Because you keep saying, whenever you get mad, when something don't go your way, if you see a man trying to talk to me, if I don't bring our daughter where you want me to bring her to, you ain't gonna be in her life till she grown. Well, bitch, stay gone. You ain't been doing nothing. We are right. We okay over here. We are okay over here. I'm not going to play this game with you. You're not going to hold us hostage to your dysfunction. The courts are in place for my protection as well as your protection and our children's. So, the same way I keep running my ass down to the courthouse, if it really was about your children's best interest and not your ego, you would run your ass down to the courthouse too. And you would present your case. You would do whatever you need to do the same way that I have been doing so that you can have your rights that you feel you should have as a parent, so that you can protect your children from my manipulation that you feel my narcissism. It's so crazy that a man who not even in his children's lives have the audacity to call anybody a narcissist, right? I could see if I was the only baby mother you had this issue with. This is every child, every life you have created. You have ran from the responsibility of the raising, the nurturing, the enlightening, the teaching. You've done none of that. You've paid child support. And then when a motherfucker tell you, oh, don't come around now, you get in your feelings, right? Make it make sense. It's really sad. And people sit here and they will glorify, or try to big up a man who say, "Oh, I don't want to deal with a toxic baby mama," and make that a narrative, or make it, "Oh, baby mamas is bitter. They run to court. They put you on child support," and make it a narrative. But try to emasculate men like Russell Wilson, who takes on the responsibility of another man's child, right? Who's there to love and to guide, to create a safe space emotionally. Yeah, it's crazy. And, This evening, in the middle of the night, when I woke up and I saw the messages, I was like, this man is sick. I said, let me just let you know something, sir. Number one, stop goddamn contacting me, right? I'm going to the police. Stop contacting me. You don't got nothing healthy to say. None of the shit you say even makes sense. It's so far removed from the reality of things, right? Go to court. Go to court. Go to court. Number one. Number two, go get you some healing. Go get you some healing. Because when you look back over your life and you look at the nature, the closest relationships to you is with your parents and your children. Look at the relationships you have going on. You can't come for nobody. You can't say anything about anybody. You need to live in reality and not that warped perception of reality that you have. It's just really, it's like, and why do you think I wouldn't document anything when you try to spin these narratives? All you want to do is see your kids, but you the same man that willingly chose to be out of your daughter's life from July to whenever the hell you attempted to speak with her again. I did block him. My son has his own phone, but my son blocked him out of his phone. He texts my son, answer the phone for I fuck you up. You're not even calling for him. You calling for his sister. And then my poor baby never even told me the crazy shit you tell him. That's probably why he don't want you calling him. That's probably why he didn't want to go back over there for visits. Because he probably feel like you be talking about me. And you know what my child be saying? See, I don't give a fuck what you say. I know what my child be saying, Mom, you my anchor. Because one day I was overwhelmed. And I said, Isaiah, I said, what if one day I just dropped y'all off at your father's house? What if one day I just dropped you off at your father's house and I said, I'm frustrated with life. I got to figure my life out. I got to get my finances together. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm taking a break and I don't know when I'm going to see you or talk to you again. I said, what would you do? And he said, I don't know. He said, I will have such a hard time. And I said, why? He said, because you're my anchor, Mom. That's what my 14-year-old child told me. So I was like, why is it okay? Before I even asked him that, I said, how do you feel about your dad not seeing your sister? And I asked him this because I was going to file to remove the visitation. And he said, he don't want to see her. He come and see her when he feel like it, when he don't want to feel like it. I said, well, I'm just asking you because, the law guardian's going to want to talk to you guys again when I file this paperwork. And I really don't want y'all to have to talk to her, but I don't have control over that. It's at the court's discretion. And he was like, he said, I understand. And I said, how do you feel about him, you know, saying these things? I said, I know you don't want to visit him anyway, but, how do you feel about it? He said, I really don't care. And then that's when I was like, well, what if I did that? What if I said, I just want to check out. I want to just go and I need time to get my life together and I need to worry about me and focus on me. I said, what if I just dropped y'all off and said that? And he was like, I would be messed up because you my anchor. So it's like, he don't even care. You don't bring nothing to the table. You don't bring nothing to the table. Nothing but your child support. That's all you bring to the table. Anything else is inconsistent. And then when you are around, like I said, you do more harm than good. You don't respect a healthy diet. You don't engage her. She's on the phone. She's subjected to shit she ain't got no business being subjected to. You think it's about control, but it's really, as a parent, about boundaries. And this is the thing. Unhealthy people get mad at folks who have boundaries. They think they're supposed to be willy-nilly and do whatever the fuck they want. See their kids whenever they want. Curse you out in front of the kids whenever they want. Say they ain't gonna see the kids whenever they want. If you put any boundaries in place with a toxic fucking person, watch them go insane. Healthy people respect boundaries. Healthy people may not even like your fucking boundaries, but they're gonna respect them. And not only that, healthy people understand that your boundaries are not about them. They're about you and what you need to function in your best space, right? And so, it's really sad too. It's really sad. My baby blocked him out of his phone. He told me, he said, my son showed me a text message he showed his dad. Saying his dad saying like, listen, Mom doesn't tell me to block you. I block you because I choose to. But he still run with this narrative even after, like, you think I'm telling this boy what to do? I'm telling him to have forgiveness. I'm telling him to have grace and understanding and compassion. I'm telling him that whatever you need mommy to do to support you emotionally being your healthiest person, that's what I'm gonna do. That's my fucking priority. My kid being healthy. So one kid wants to see you, the other kid don't. I am for you seeing her with healthy boundaries in place. If you ain't respecting nothing the court put into place, why the fuck would I just entertain you just coming right back and getting on this phone with this baby? And we've been in therapy and we doing all this stuff to work through the harm you have fucking caused in your absence and in your presence. That every time she hear your voice on the phone and you start cursing me out and she's saying to her social worker she can't get your voice out of her head screaming and cursing at mommy on the car. This the shit that you don't have no idea about. But you running around like your ass don't stink and you fucking father of the year because our daughter love you. She should love you. And I promote her loving you. And I promote her separating who you are as a husband to who you are as a father. But when you abandon her and you don't call her and you don't engage her for over a fucking month, you think you have the audacity to sit anywhere in anybody's space, whether it be a courtroom, whether it be in front of your friends, whether it be utilizing that app to say all you want is to have see your kids and talk to your kids, bitch. If that's what you want, then do the things that are in alignment with that, because everything you do is in alignment with toxicity, dysfunction, and fucking instability. And you're not about to bring that shit our way. We are over here healing. We are over here moving forward. We are over here trying to walk in the path that God called for us to walk in. And you know, the revelation in all of this is that when you pursue what you want more than you pursue what God's will for your life is, He will be permissible and give you that. And that's what I did. I made an idol out of this man. I made an idol out of my children too. I've shared this multiple times. And when I started to pray to God about order in my life, He showed me. He showed me I had the wrong order. I used to pridefully boast about, oh, yeah, I'm not even going to lie. My husband, my kids come before God. And God, He switched that around for me, baby. He did something. He surely did. And I'm okay with that. And it hurt. This pruning season, it definitely hurt. I learned some things, but I'm so happy. I don't have any feelings about this man outside of frustration when stuff like this happen. I don't hate you. I don't hate you. I feel sorry for you. Because you 51, about to be 52 years old. You got more days in back of you than you got ahead of you. People take it for granted that they always going to have time to repair their wrongs and right their wrongs. And if you haven't learned with your eldest child to not go down this path and wait till somebody get grown, I don't know why you think it's going to work with our 7-year-old and our 14-year-old. Because our 14-year-old is on the same type of energy that his older brother's on, and he don't want shit to do with you. Absolutely nothing. And every day I pray that that changes. Every day I pray that God keep his heart soft. He don't harden his heart. And that's why I keep my children in the word. I keep them in church. I keep them in Bible study. I pray with them daily. I talk to them about forgiveness. I talk to them about me having my own flaws. I take accountability for even creating a space that they could see me and their father engage like that back and forth, right? But this man, he ain't built. He's spineless. So I don't got to kick your back in. I don't got to do nothing for you. I just pray that God give you more grace and mercy and consideration that you gave to your children, right? Being a parent is a godly assignment. And my pride ain't that goddamn big when it comes to my babies, right? But I have a job to protect them. And when I can clearly see the other person is not invested in being prideless and being humble, to do what's in the best interest of our children, I got to carry all that weight. So I don't make decisions anymore based off of what he gonna think about what I'm doing. I don't make decisions anymore based off of his level of understanding, because I know it's remedial and beneath me, right? And I know that he operates with a victim mentality. And a lot of people who struggling through trauma, see, folks is out here and they functioning, right? And they think because they function, they get up and they go to work every day. They think because, you know, maybe they don't do certain things that they better than somebody else. You're undiagnosed, right? And you got a lot of unhealed trauma. And the fact that you haven't made your peace with that, you haven't evaluated that, so you can have a level of self awareness. This speaks to why you keep approaching parenting the same way. It's not a reflection of the women you have children with, it's not a reflection of the children, it's a reflection of you as a male, not a man, a male. Because everybody with a penis and every mature male, a male that like matures as far as growing in age, is not a sound-minded man. And I wasn't married to a sound-minded man. And I see it for what it is. And I thank God that he removed me. He unyoked me from that. And I thank God that I'm able to move forward, enlightened and aware, making better choices, vetting better. I shared that I was dating, and I'm not really, I'm sitting on chill now, whatever, but it's cool because I have so much awareness. And not only that, I'm vibrating towards people who are on the same frequency as me, people who prioritize healthy conflict resolution, people who are career oriented, people who are grounded in a faith walk, people who have a lot of awareness. I'm going to compare this, and Kai, I know you went to go see Kendrick. I'm going to compare this to Kendrick and Drake, right? Somebody with no awareness cannot fuck with somebody who psychoanalyzes themselves and everyone else around them. And this is why when I speak, my husband, it go all through his spirit, right? I remember one time I was saying about a situation, I said, I'm not letting nobody at war with themselves try to disturb my peace. That motherfucker that hit him so bad. I wasn't even talking about him. I was talking about somebody else. It got him so bad because people interpret stuff, baby. And when you have that level of awareness, and these bodies is avatars. I got that from you, ma'am. We nurture our spiritual being, right? These bodies ain't nothing. Amen. These bodies ain't nothing. So we nurture and we cultivate the development of our spiritual being, right? Even though we in these bodies ain't nothing. And so I'm very psychoanalytical with myself and with others. This is my professional background in space, right? Sir, you can't say nothing to me. You can't throw no shot at me. You can't throw no drama, no trauma, no nothing I ever been through in my life with me. Because I made my peace with that. You the person hiding behind a smoke and mirrors. You the person projecting and pretending and deflecting, right? And this is why you never wanted to be in the therapy session with your children. Because you can't handle the truth of what they have to say about you. This is why you can't receive anything. The same man who was called faggots and and talked crazy to and emasculated by the woman who raised him, that you turned around and you thought you was gonna be calling my son a faggot. You thought you was gonna be dealing with him like that. And I had to step in, and then it's like, oh, you protect him, you baby him. Nah, it's not. The same harm and trauma that was inflicted on you, you're not about to pass down to my goddamn child. You ain't no way you talking to him like that. So everything that I say, regardless of who I'm speaking to or who I'm speaking about, that shit triggers you because you receiving that through your broken lens. You feel that shit a hit dog gonna holler. And it wouldn't even be about you. It wouldn't even be directed towards you. But you can't ever come for me. I live in my truth every day. Every day, I'm always processing. I'm always looking. I'm always discovering to rediscover. I'm always evaluating. And like my boy Kendrick said, I done went to therapy. I know who I am. And I decided I don't fucking like the world. I was called to be set aside. I see it for what it is. And this is why I don't try to conform. And this is why I don't try to fit in. And this is why I walk around unapologetically with grace and compassion. Don't get it twisted. Two things could be true at the same time. But I really don't give a fuck about what nobody have to say about me, especially if it's somebody who you don't even keep it real with yourself. You can't say nothing to me. Because if I don't do nothing else, I keep it realer than real. So I refuse to be, and God is helping me in that space. Sometimes like, girl, humble yourself, humble yourself. But I really have that energy. Like, you ain't gonna tell me nothing. You ain't. I know who I am. I walk in my truth. I live my truth every day. Mm-hmm. My kids, yo, my son tells me all the time the conversations that we have about mental health and healthy coping skills. Me and my baby sat down, we made a wellness plan for him together. I be on the phone with my kids' friends who are struggling with their mental illness. I'm a whole village for these freaking kids, his friends. And what I realize is a lot of his friends, they don't talk to their parents about how they feel. I am a safe space for my husband and for my son and his friend group. Again, you will know them by their fruit. So I'm not concerned what nobody think about me but my children and the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Them the only people that I care about how they feel about me. Anybody else, I might have respect for your opinion, but I don't live my life based off making nobody happy. I ask the Lord to order my steps, guide my path, bridle my tongue. I don't seek validation from man. I don't get even caught up in the hype of the praises that I get from the people I come in encounter with. I used to, absolutely. I used to let that shit go to my head. I have learned to die to noise. That shit don't matter because man could put you on a pedestal one day and put you on a crucifixion the next. This same man put me on a pedestal one day and now I'm everything but a child of God. I have learned to not live for the clap and the praise of man, but live to be in alignment with God's will for my life. And nothing supersedes that. And what comes after that is the respect of my children and healthy relationships with them and open, transparent communication with them. That is the things that I prioritize. I'm not living for other people. As much as I love my grandmother, I'm in disagreement with certain things she does. As much as I love and respect my aunties, I'm in disagreement with certain things they do and vice versa. It's okay if people don't see or understand everything that you do and the method to your madness. So I don't live for that. I can't get caught up in people understanding me, right? It would be easier if they did. Absolutely. Glory, hallelujah. But the right ones that's meant to be around you gonna get it. And the right ones that's meant to be around you, you don't have to preach to them or convince them of your character. People see your character through your fruit. Your reputation is what people say about you. Your character is how you show up in this world and the imprint you leave. And if you ain't even leaving a healthy imprint on your fucking children, you can never come for me. Because the imprint I leave on my children that I have thus far speaks volumes. So I don't even get myself caught up in, child. I don't get myself caught up in what nobody got to think about how I move and what I do. You not driving this car, so you only see from your level of perception. You only understand from your level of perception, and I can't get myself caught up in being understood by everybody. That ain't realistic. You're not gonna ever be understood by everybody, right? But we have to have these conversations and open the space that when you mess up, don't make it about a man. My separation has allowed me to see myself. Even he didn't used to like this when I would say, I married you for the wrong reasons. I married you for validation. Yeah, I loved you, but I married you for validation. Marriage does not change pre-existing issues. These issues have always been there, right? I could go back and I could open up a Q&A that we did. We did this Q&A in 2021. How you go for speaking on me like that to now I'm all this and everything but a child of God? How I go from being the best woman you ever had, the most loving and nurturing and selfless person you ever been with, to a master manipulator, a narcissist, and all this stuff, right? Because the issues that I had with you, they were always the same issues from 2010 up into present, right? The only difference is that I just kept them behind closed doors. I didn't air our personal business on Front Street. I didn't openly talk about my issues that I had with you. But I ain't never said nothing to you today that differed than what I said in 2010. But the things that you're saying differ tremendously. And if that was the case, you would have left me, right? I left you twice. You wanted to be in this marriage. You wanted to be in relationship with me. You pursued me. And something that I said to him that I was really mad, I said, you wasted my time. You wasted my fucking time. You could have stayed where you could have stayed gone. Hmm. You could have stayed gone. But then I had to realize too and take accountability for that. He didn't waste my time. I allowed myself to let a man tell me, oh, I went and apologized to my kids. I talked to their moms. I'm doing this. I'm going to go to counseling. I'm going to do that. I allowed myself to listen to that and not watch for fruit. I allowed myself to move off of what you said because my flesh and my want, instead of watching for a harvest and saying, okay, let's take it slow. Let me see. Let me see what he do. Let me see if he go to therapy. So in all reality, you didn't waste my time. I allowed myself to operate prematurely. And that's what you get. When you move without God involved, that's what you get. So I have to take it, even taking, responsibility for that. I'm not a victim of anything but my choices, right? Soon as a man show you how he deal emotionally, soon as a man raise his hand, put his hands on you, girl, that's telling you everything you fucking need to know. You don't even need no context to it, right? But we sit around and we wait and we look for potential and deal with potential. And I learned a very valuable lesson. I was 24 when I met my husband. I was young. I was fresh home from prison. I ain't know nothing. I grew in a 15-year marriage, a 15-year relationship I grew in, right? And by the time I realized the relationship had significant issues, I was pregnant with my daughter. I was very invested. I loved this man and I was going to keep trying until I felt I exhausted every possible avenue before walking away from my family. That's why I did the bid with him, because I'm not just going to give up. Okay. I'm going to exhaust every possible avenue. That's why when I walked away finally last year, I was good. I knew it was over. I knew my heart had to heal, but I knew without a shadow of a doubt, this is over. I'm not going back because I exhausted every possible avenue. So a lot of times women, we leave mentally first and we wrap it up before we actually say anything and make actions. We give it everything we can. I gave that marriage everything I could. I dealt with public disrespect. I dealt with private disrespect. I gave it everything I could. And everything wasn't bad, but ultimately it wasn't the marriage for me. And that's perfectly fine. And that's why I was able to walk away with no hate. My anger came in because the bullshit after separation. My anger came in because now I don't want to be with you. And now you just, at least the way you was stepping up with the kids, you just dropped all that shit. That's where my anger came in. And that's what I'm going through now. I'm resolving and making peace with the anger that I have about how you have dealt with our children throughout this season of separation, right? But as far as like hating you, I don't hate you. I feel sorry for you. As far as having beef with you, I don't got beef with you at all. You got beef with yourself. I'm over here living and loving the life that I live and working through my shit, showing up for my kids, growing in my professional career, handling business. I got something amazing that's going to be happening for me. I got some real money coming down the line with me. Yeah, I got a whole and I can't even speak prematurely. Yeah, and the money I got with my car accident was nothing compared to the money that I'm about to get. God will make your enemies your footstool. I'm excelling in life. Ain't nothing in my life dragging and sagging, right? I am going through the motions, absolutely, and I'm going through financial hardship, absolutely, but it don't rain forever. And this is not going to always be my situation. And God has something better in store. And I'm already moving further closer towards that season. So, yeah, I don't even look at it no kind of way. I really don't. And it is really true. And it's like the longer you deal in a domestic violence situation, when you get out and you really leave, that person really go batshit crazy. Like they be worse than they is in a relationship. They really do. Because it's like, oh yeah, you finally really left. And it's crazy. But when you look around and you by yourself, just remember that's why you ain't got nobody to blame. Don't be trying to blame everybody else. You got to sit with yourself and you got to hold that. And that must be a very uncomfortable space for him. I don't know, but I thank God. I every single day, all throughout the day, I thank God for giving me the the mental capacity, the perspective, the insight, to see me and everything that I go through. I know it seems like I'm saying a lot about this man. Let me tell you something. I see me in everything that I go through. I see the brokenness, which made me be attracted to that. I had abandonment issues, fear, all that. So I wanted a man that was going to protect me, right? But it's crazy how your protector will become your abuser, right? The same man that was supposed to keep me safe so many times allowed me to be violated me, share my personal information, all kinds of shit. So I see it all for what it is. It's all a learning lesson. I wouldn't be as strong as I am had I not gone through all of that. I wouldn't be able to be cavalier to the bullshit he's doing now had I not already gone through that season in the beginning of the marriage. So everything is par for the course. No pain in life is wasted if you have the right mindset. But if you got that victim mentality, baby, you always gonna be looking to blame somebody else. And you're gonna be in a room by yourself at the end of your days, lonely and miserable. And you're gonna be sitting there mumbling, looking for somebody to blame. And that, I don't want that to be my reality. Mm-mm. Nope, God. So I can't ever make it about nobody else. I got to make it about me. Kai, when is you getting us some content out, girl? I need some. And how is school going? My classes are starting again November 1st. So I'm about to be wrapped up. I should be finished with school hopefully in April. I'm praying to God, fingers crossed. I'll be done in April. Um, I've been racking up on my hours. So y'all know I was at the mental health crisis residence in my overnight job. I recently quit. Um, but yeah, I've been racking up on my hours. New York State changed some stuff, whatever. So now they don't give a R credential anymore. They stopped doing that. I think it has a lot to do with COVID and making teletherapy available. They kind of switched things up, but I'd be really excited to know how school is going for you. And shout out to my friend because he's the one that really pushed me to like re-enroll because I'm like, I can't afford it. I got too much going on. God is good. I'm so scared and intimidated. I don't even know how you balance working and school. And, I was to the point where I got down to taking one class because I was paying out of pocket. And it was really hard. It was really stressful to be going through a separation, have all the sole responsibility of the kids. And my last term was from January to April, like April 28th. That's good. And it just be like, it's all worth it. It's kind of like being pregnant, right? And then having your baby. So you go through the 9 months. By the end of the 9 months, you're so miserable. You're like, oh, I can't wait to have this baby. I ain't never going to do it again. And you have the baby and you're so happy. And you look at the baby, you're like, it was all worth it. That's how I look at, getting this next degree. Like, it's all worth it. This is my baby. Even my LAS center, right? This is my baby. Slow steps, slow steps. I talked to my pastor. I'm not going to have a location of my own, but I'll be able to do some things through my church. I was using my church, excuse me, um, as a location, if that makes sense. So God is good. Even when it don't look the way we want it to, it's still happening. And me, I was like, this is gonna be so hard. I can't afford to finish out school. But you know what? I'm going back. I got a plan, and I will be finished by the spring, the end of the spring. Yeah, I get it. I worry about that too a little bit. Especially because it's like you can Google me now, and I didn't know that. My daughter told me that. My daughter told me she Googled me in school on the computer, and my website came up and my YouTube channel came up. you could connect it easily. So I was like, oh Lord. And you just never know how people try to weaponize stuff against you. I seen with JD Vance how he was telling people to call folks whoever spoke on, and I don't even want to say the guy's name, the guy, the man who was just, pow powed. Um, but JD Vance is saying, like, if any people hear folks speaking negatively on him, to call their employers. You just be having them people, those haters and whatnot. And it's like, I don't want anything to compromise my professional integrity, right? And plus, I work with the Office of Children and Family Services. And so I don't want to be discredited in any way. Um, on the flip side of that, though, I'm living my authentic truth. I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. And it's really therapeutic for me because when I'm talking to people, my one homegirl in particular, she's like, every time after I talk to you, I feel empowered. Like, yeah, I could do this. And she was like, I wish that I could be as strong as you. And I'm like, girl, listen, what do you think strength is? Right? Strength ain't being composed. Strength ain't hair laid, lashes done, makeup beat to the gods. Like, I know sometimes people see my outward appearance, and I'm not talking about right now in the early morning hours, while I'm sitting here on my couch sipping some wine. But I mean, a lot of times I think that that's the disillusion, right? People think having your shit together or being healthy is having a perfect life. People think strength is not crying. I cry every single day. Every day I cry. It's very therapeutic. I video journal every day. I write every day. I meditate every day. Um, it's not that I'm successful because I'm strong. I personally believe, and this is my personal belief for my life, that I am successful because I have surrendered what my idea of living looks like to my higher power. I have focused more on my spiritual being and my spiritual essence as opposed to my rotten, stinking flesh. My flesh is a filthy rag. I will curse you out. I will try to drag you and rag you through the streets. I will match whatever kind of negative energy you give me if I don't nurture my spirit. And the only time that I move effectively is when I'm moving off God's time. When I move off self, baby, it might be good for 2.2 seconds, then I crash the hell out. So I have learned, I have learned to really humble myself before the Lord, right? Now, I struggle humbling myself before man, but I have really learned how to humble myself before God. And so that's what I wanted her to understand. Like, don't think that this walk looks like not having bad days. Don't think that this walk looks like your money is always together. I share with y'all, my money ain't right. My money be twisted. And I say that without embarrassment because I see so many people coming on the web and trying to take people's hardships, take people's past eviction records, take people's issues with their families, their children, and weaponize them against them. We have to normalize that we all go through shit. Kai, you being open with things you have gone through with your ex-husband has given me enlightenment that I know I'm not alone, that I know that this will one day too pass, that I know that even difficult conversations that I have with my daughter, I could split a box 10 years from now and me and her sit and talk about provide more context at an age appropriate, at a when she's age appropriate for those types of conversations, right? Um, that's the goal, to go through shit to reach back and pull somebody else up. But we definitely got to be careful how we do it because they are crazy. We are crazy. And when you a black professional woman, you don't get the grace that people with the complexion connection get. You really don't. Um, we always expected to show up regardless, right? We expected to show up to motherhood regardless of what the hell these broken black males do, right? And that ain't all black. I'm talking about black males, not black men. We expected to show up in the workplace regardless of what we got going on home or what Nancy and them is doing. Let me tell you something. Them white women in my place of employment, them ladies could go off, they could disrespect people, they could scream and holler, have emotional outbursts, and people, oh, Becky's upset, she's going through something, her cat didn't come home, right? But God forbid you have the weight of the world on your back outside of work. Nobody will ever have grace for you going to showing to work like that. If I assert myself in the work environment and say, hey, I choose not to engage you if it's outside of work related matter, I'm aggressive and hostile. Meanwhile, you got, the white fragility where they clicky clicky, they do certain things and nobody gives a damn. They literally create hostile work environments all the time and nobody cares, right? They intentionally do shit to make you uncomfortable and nobody will say something. And just because you choose your peace, you choose to be selective in who you engage with, now you're an issue. Whenever a black woman asserts herself, whenever a black woman walks in the light that God wants her to, she's a force to be reckoned with. And I'm telling you, the weak people is going to freaking clamor and have a problem with it. And the biggest trick that the devil do is he will have you sleeping with someone. He will have you around and in close relationship with someone who's trying to block you walking in your purpose. We don't even know it. And I'm all for speaking life into black men. And I'm all for creating a safe space for black men. But black men need to start creating a safe space for themselves and each other. Black men need to start holding each other accountable. And when they got those friends of theirs that are not on the man vibe and the man level like them, and they got friends that are black males, they need to pull them up into manhood. They need to educate them. They need to hold them accountable. They need to say, no, this ain't right, buddy. This ain't about everybody else. This is about you. Because I know I got a group of black women around me that hold me accountable. They don't sit there and stroke my back and feed into my ego. They tell me what it is. They tell me like, girl, no, this is wrong. You should be praying to God. You should be getting on your knees. You should be doing this. You know what I mean? They don't let me dwell in the bullshit. They don't let me put nothing before my kids' best interests. You got to get you some people who sound-minded. You got to get you some. I don't want a friend that's a yes friend. I ain't never wanted nobody around me to be no yes man. But fragile people, and that's cult-like behavior, where you only want people that speak to your desires and are in agreement with you, no matter how toxic and negative your behavior is. And that has a lot to go on with in our political realm too. The political climate we in, they like a cult. They like a cult. Amen. And it be in our mind too. But these people is like a cult in this political climate. I stopped identifying as a zodiac sign. I used to be really big to speak to my Aries traits. And I don't do that anymore. I don't, and I get that people are into zodiacs. I've never been into crystals or nothing like that, but I was very big because I'm like, I'm stubborn, I'm a leader, I'm loyal, I'm fiercely overprotective. I'm quiet unless I like you, right? And if I like you, I'm gonna talk a mile a minute. And I'm not nobody to play with. I'm not nobody to try to lean on or nothing like that. Like, I want all the smoke. If you do that, I want all the smoke, right? I ain't no punk. I ain't never been no punk. I'm always gonna say what I want to say. I've learned how, especially I've gotten in trouble in my life because the older I got, the more I learned how to say what I want to say respectfully. And so it's like people really can't stand that either. When you could say what you need to say and shut something down and not use no curse words, not have a nasty tone of voice, but just be very matter of fact and assertive. And so to me, it was like, yeah, I'll shut you down in a heartbeat because I ain't got the curse to do it. But I have learned to peace be still. I have learned that everything is not worth the exchange of energy. It's not. You're just not getting that from me. I'm not giving you that. And I have learned that grace sometimes is the basic good morning, how you doing? And that's it. You don't get nothing else from me. I have learned to let people, again, who are at war with themselves, stay in war with themselves. I'm not getting on that hamster wheel. You won't have me running over and round and round and round in a circle. Absolutely not. And I mean, in all capacities, in all areas of my life, professionally, privately, in the church, outside, because there's some crazy people in the church. Everybody in the church ain't doing about God business. They not about maturing in the Godhead. Some people in church are in church just to be there. And faith without works is dead. It's just lip service. It's routine and rituals, right? Instead of a true lifestyle and understanding and surrendering. And that's not where I'm at. Judge ye lest ye, I can't say it right, but you know what I mean. I'm not called to judge people, but God also called for us to be examiners, right, of ourselves and the world around us. That's what discernment is. So when my discernment show me what something is, I keep it in grace says, I ain't got to call you out. I told that man tonight, I said, listen, there's a lot of shit that I could do, and you know I could, that I ain't never spoke on, right? But I don't have to, because observant people will know you by your fruit. You do a better job of showing anybody who you are better than I could tell them. I don't have to say anything. Not to our children, not to no outside people. Only folks I'm going to talk to is the judge when they ask me why I want supervised visits. The same way they asked me before. You are not stable and you are not healthy. But as far as anything else, even the women I work with, I don't have no smoke for y'all. Nobody can harm you the way you harm yourself with how you choose to react or respond to the world you live in, to the consequences of the choices you make, to the people you invite into your life and you make yourself accessible to. When we learn how to take responsibility for our choices, our responses, we get so much further in life. But when it's always about somebody else, and when you move the goalposts for other people versus yourself, right? How can you, when I was thinking about the women at my job, right? And somebody asked me like, oh, what do you want the outcome to be? And I said, I don't really care what the outcome is for them. One thing I will say is that I pray, just like what I do with my husband, I pray that God has grace and compassion for you that you did not bestow to me, right? When it's your day of judgment and reckoning, that lack of grace and compassion that you have for me, I pray that God gives that to you. And you know why I do that? It's a selfish prayer. It ain't even about you, it's about me. Because if I don't pray for God to give you grace, how am I gonna ask him for grace? Because I'm not perfect, right? So again, I have learned to internalize everything that I experience in life so I can see myself. Because I believe that through trials and tribulations, it's pruning and perfecting, right? Just like you got a rose bush, you'll prune that, right? Because you want to perfect the rose bush. You want it to look as good as possible. So you got to cut off what's dead. You got to cut off what's dying. And that's how it is. I believe that life is a journey and healing is a journey. You're never healed, right? You may think you're healed, but it's like a scab. There will be another situation in life that will antagonize or flare up that scab. And the way you respond will show how much focus you need to put into that area of your life and how you moving in that area. Because the truth of it is, life is a journey meant to perfect you so that by the end of it, the pruning and refinement brings us close. We should finish life closer to the image of God. We're born in sin, but by the end of the journey of life, we should be closer to his image. And so the hardships, the trials and tribulations, whether self-inflicted or storms that God allows us to go through for no reason of our own, but just to stretch you, are all meant, again, to get you to be closer to his image. I ain't got no beef with nobody. I am just trying to walk in the path that God called for me to walk in. I'm trying to handle the storms of my life and see everything in the proper perspective. And I'm not living for the applause or validation of man or woman. I'm living for God to say at the end of my journey, well and done, my faithful servant. well and done. That's what I'm living for. I ain't the easiest person to get along with all the time. I absolutely know that. But I'm somebody, when my energy is off, I definitely keep it to myself, right? And I'm always, even in trials and tribulations, even in times of suffering, promoting testimony that God has given me through what he has done in my life, what he is doing in my life, right? And I'm unapologetic about who I am, flaws and all. I'm unapologetic about all of it. And I know who I am makes a lot of people uncomfortable. But if I make you uncomfortable, I'm not for you. Let me tell you something. The conviction of the word, every Sunday I'm in church, every Thursday I'm in Bible study, every Tuesday night I'm on Bible study. The conviction of the word make me uncomfortable. It's like, damn God, I need to work on that secret place. Damn God, I need to go and dig this part of my heart out in my spiritual closet. You know, damn God, I need to go and surrender myself. God, this is the ways I'm still self-led. That conviction, it's like a gut punch. I don't hear the word and be thinking, oh, this is for this person. I hear the word and I hear God speaking to me. I see God exposing those areas of my life that he still want. Yeah, you didn't give all control to me in this place, girl. You still leading yourself in this way. I'm seeing all those things on a daily basis, daily. I mean, it's not in the morning, just in the morning. It's all throughout the day. I got to go seek ye the kingdom. I got to be in my word. That Psalms 91, that Isaiah 40:31, that James 1, first chapter, verses 2 through 4. All these things, Psalm 23, as the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God, I don't want nothing for you. I'm sorry, I don't want nothing for my life that you have not ordained for me. Because look at Eve wanted that fruit. And Adam just wanted Eve to be happy. And man fell into sin. I wanted that man. And now I'm sitting here and I'm a single mother, right? People make it about, oh, don't be having, make sure you marry first and do all this, that, and the third. That don't mean shit. You better invite the Holy Spirit into your decision-making process, baby. Because if you don't and you just do what you want to do, we got to think about it. My pastor said this in Bible study Thursday. He said, what sin you ever committed that didn't feel good? And that hit me like a ton of bricks. What sin have you ever committed that didn't feel good? Even when we crash out, when you got that moment and somebody just been doing something, then you just finally go off and you crash out, it feel good. It feel good for a while till you got to sit with it. And then you be like, damn, I shouldn't have did that, right? When you sleep with that person and you get yoked to that unbeliever and then you go and marry them and have kids and all that, it'd be great. Why, it'd be great. And then you start dealing with the consequences and you start seeing stuff and you be like, damn. But when we commit sin, it feels good. When you curse somebody out, when you on the phone gossiping when you're with your homegirl, when you doing whatever you doing, because no sin is greater than the next. When you being gluttonous and overeating, all sin feels good. It's us doing what our flesh wants. It's us satisfying our flesh. And like Kai said, we got to die to our flesh, right? So I'm in a space where I'm like, God, your will for my life. I know the things I want, but God, if it's not in alignment with your will, then Lord, you are my shepherd. Psh, I don't want to want. I don't want to want nothing that you don't want for me. Please kill that want. Kill that desire. Kill that part of my flesh. If that ain't in alignment with what you have for me, because the Lord will supply all your needs according to his will. So when I get caught up in wants, I get in trouble, child. Hell no. I don't want nothing now that God don't want for me. I have learned this and I'm grateful. And I thank God because we can only hear him when he calls us and stirs us. So I be thinking him all the time. I be crying, Lord, thank you for stirring me. Thank you for allowing me to hear you. Right? Because I could be like them sheep that's lost out in the wilderness. Those people that say they believe in God, but they don't honor nothing he say. They think being obedient is a choice and not a command. Baby, I thank God. I thank God through and through. I thank God through and through, baby. And let me tell you something. I got to get up and I got to wash my face, take a shower, get myself together. I think I'm going to the police station. I'm going to get my legalities in place, right? And then I'm going to church. I'm going to church. and I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna cook a nutritious, delicious meal for me and my kids, get ready for the upcoming school week and work week, and spend quality time with my children. Cause I live a blessed life. If God don't ever do nothing else for me, he done more than enough. Just the fact that, number one, Jesus died on Calvary for our sins. Number two, that God stirred my heart so I could actually hear him and get in relationship with him. You as well. God bless you. Keep me and your kids, me and my kids in your prayers, and I'm always praying for you. Thank you so much, Queen. But yeah, y'all, I'm about to start and get ready because church start at 11, and I got a lot to do before then. Um, but you guys have a blessed day, and remember, even if you don't come on the internet like I do, and be real about your trials and tribulations, no pain, no experience you go through in life is wasted if you don't allow it to be. God is always doing something bigger and better and greater in our lives. And we don't see it in the moment. But when you look back in hindsight, you'll be like the old saints and you'll say, had it not been for the goodness of God and all he has done for me. And not only that, we're getting closer to his image. In Jesus' name, y'all, have a blessed day.